Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most important, yet kind of misunderstood technologies of our time, the cloud. I mean, have you ever really stopped to wonder where your photos, your emails, your streaming movies, where do they actually live? It all feels a bit like magic, right? But spoiler alert, it's not stored up in the sky. It's the foundation of pretty much our entire digital world.
Okay, so to really get our heads around the cloud, let's start with a super simple analogy. It's basically the difference between owning and renting. See, back in the day, if you were a company, you had to buy, set up, and maintain all your own clunky, expensive servers. It was a huge headache, super costly, and just inefficient. The cloud completely flipped that model on its head. Now anyone can just rent computing power whenever they need it.
So what is the cloud, really? I mean, when you boil it all down, it's just a way to get on-demand access to a shared pool of computing resources. You know, servers, storage, that kind of thing, all over the internet.
And here's the official definition from the National Institute of Standards and Technology. It sounds a little dry, but the key takeaway is right there. It's all about getting the resources you need exactly when you need them without a ton of hassle or manual effort.
Now, the real magic trick that makes all this possible, it's a technology called virtualization. Basically, it uses this special software, called a hypervisor, to take one super powerful physical server and just slice it up into a whole bunch of separate, isolated virtual machines. So you can have dozens of different servers for totally different customers, all running on the exact same piece of hardware. It's just a massive, massive leap in efficiency.
And this whole model has 5 essential characteristics that make it so powerful. You've got on-demand self-service, which means you can spin up a server yourself without ever having to talk to a human. Broad network access, you can get to it from anywhere. Resource pooling, so you can share hardware with others, securely of course. And then the 2 big ones, rapid elasticity. That's the ability to instantly scale up for a huge traffic spike and then scale right back down. And measured service, which is exactly what it sounds like. You only pay for what you actually use. It's a game changer.
Okay, let's dive into the cloud service menu. Because when you use the cloud, you've got different levels of service to choose from. And you know what? We're gonna make this super easy to understand with a little something I like to call pizza as a service. So check this out. At the most basic level, you've got infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. Think of this like just renting the kitchen. The cloud provider gives you the oven, the counters, the whole setup. That's the servers, storage, and networking. But you gotta bring your own ingredients and make the pizza yourself. Then there's platform as a service, or PaaS. This is where the provider gives you the kitchen and the pre-made pizza dough. You just add your own toppings and pop it in the oven. And finally, the one we all use every day, software as a service, or SaaS. This one's easy. It's like having a fully cooked, delicious pizza delivered right to your door. You don't do a thing. And trust me, you are using these services all the time, every single day. I mean, think about it. Netflix, Google Docs, Spotify, those are all classic examples of software as a service. You just open the app and it works, right? You don't have to worry about any of the complex stuff happening behind the scenes. The cloud provider handles all of that for you.
All right, so now that we've got a handle on the what, let's talk about the where. Where does your cloud actually live?
And we can stick with our real estate analogies here. Think about it like this. A public cloud, that's kind of like living in a big apartment building. You share the infrastructure with lots of other tenants, it's super cost effective, and the landlord, the cloud provider, handles all the maintenance. A private cloud, on the other hand, is like owning your own private house. You've got maximum control, total privacy, but yep, you're responsible for everything. And then there's the hybrid cloud, which gives you the best of both worlds. It's like owning your house, but also renting a storage unit for all your extra stuff. Now, when you look at the public cloud market, it's pretty clear that it's dominated by a few huge players. You've got Amazon Web Services, or AWS. They were the pioneers, and they still hold about a third of the market. Then you've got Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud right behind them. And get this, together, these 3 companies power a massive chunk of the entire modern internet. And that, of course, has some really big implications for things like competition and innovation.
But you know what? The story doesn't just end with these giant centralized data centers. Nope. For some applications, speed is absolutely everything. I'm talking about situations where every millisecond counts. And for that, we need to get our computing power even closer to the action.
And that is where edge computing comes into play.
So instead of sending all your data on a long trip back to a central cloud server, the whole idea here is to process it locally, right where it's being generated. Think on your phone, inside a self-driving car, or on a factory floor. And let's be clear, this doesn't replace the cloud. Not at all. It's a really powerful extension of it. Yeah, a really great way to think about how they work together is like this. The edge is like your first responder on the scene. It's making those split-second, localized decisions that have to happen right now. The cloud, then, is the strategic command center. It's collecting all the data from all the first responders, analyzing the big picture, and training even smarter models for the future. And this partnership is absolutely crucial in scenarios where, like I said, milliseconds matter. Think about an autonomous car. It can't afford to wait for a response from a server that's 1,000 miles away to decide whether or not to slam on the brakes. No way. That decision has to be made instantly, right there at the edge. Okay, so let's bring this all home. Let's tie it all together. Why does this all matter? Why has this simple shift from owning to renting computing power so completely transformed, well, everything?
Well, the benefits are just immense. I mean, companies no longer have to spend a fortune on their own hardware. They can get new applications up and running in minutes instead of months. They can scale up to reach a global audience, like instantly. And they get a level of reliability and security that honestly would be pretty much impossible for most of them to achieve on their own.
And really, this pay-as-you-go model is the absolute key. It has completely democratized access to incredible computing power. It's empowering everyone from a single developer tinkering in their garage all the way up to a global enterprise that's serving millions and millions of customers. This is the reason you can stream hours and hours of Netflix without a single hiccup. It's how you can collaborate on a Google Doc in real time with your colleagues, even if they're on the other side of the planet. The cloud, it's the invisible, powerful engine that just makes our modern digital lives possible. So you see, the cloud isn't just another piece of technology. It's a platform, a launch pad for innovation. It made the impossible possible. And as it keeps evolving with things like edge computing, the real question left is, what are we going to build with it next?
Like and subscribe for more content like this.